And we are back with the fourth segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this fourth segment, we are going to be doing a little playoff preview of all the playoff games that are going to go down tonight. Now, I said there are going to be 2 elimination games, and they're both going to be happening on TNT. And the third one is going to be another game because that series is tied 2-2. So the first game that's going to be happening is the 7 o'clock game, which is the Knicks and the Sixers. They're going to be playing Game 5. The Knicks lead 3-1 against the Sixers, and they go into New York with home court advantage to close out the series in 5 games. And I have New York winning this game. They've shown that they're just simply like the better team, like overall. And while both of the teams, they do rely heavily on Joel Embiid if you're the Sixers and Jalen Brunson if you are the Knicks, because Joel Embiid is averaging 35 points and Jalen Brunson is averaging 33 points. And the real difference maker for this series has been the bench production and the rest of the helping cast for each respective team. I mean, Tyrese Maxey, he's been really good for the Sixers, but that's sort of been the only other bright spot for that team. And you can't in this now in this sort of era of basketball with this Knicks team, you sort of you can't have just 2 players doing all of the work, because this Knicks team is going to, as they've shown recently throughout these series, they're going to punish you with their effort on the boards, their effort getting all these second chance points, and also their scoring effort for from Jalen Brunson, as well as some of the other players that graduated from Villanova, I should mention. And there's also a little bit of these allergies are killing me, but there is also a little bit of turmoil in Philly because of Villanova. And Villanova, they congratulated the rest of the players on the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, DiVincenzo, and Josh Hart. They congratulated a lot of their players on the Knicks because, they did graduate from Villanova, and they are rather respected in the Villanova fan base. But a lot of Philly fans, they didn't like how Villanova was sort of praising them, given how Philly and the team for Philly is in a playoff series against the team that they're on. So it's I somewhat understand why a lot of these Philly fans are really upset, because it's when they're on our team, yes, we like them, but when they're not on our team, we don't like them. But it's sort of different when you're talking about colleges, and I really think that it shouldn't be something it shouldn't be that deep, in my opinion. But I still have the Knicks winning this series. Now, I think Joel Embiid, he might make it a little bit difficult in this game. I don't expect him to go out without a fight, but I do think that the Knicks and the rest of the players on the team, they're just that much better than the Sixers and the rest of the players that the Sixers have on their team. So next game on the list is the Magic going up against the Cavs. Now, this was the game that I said wasn't going to an elimination game, since the series is tied 2-2. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they won both of their games in Cleveland, and the Orlando Magic ended up winning both of their games in Orlando. And now the series is going back to Cleveland to see if Cleveland can go ahead and win it at home yet again, and hopefully move up the series 3-2, and then play that elimination game in Orlando. But the way this series has gone, it can sort of go it could sort of go two ways. It could go the way that it's been going for the entirety of this series, with each team that has home court advantage taking that home court advantage, or the Orlando Magic, they continue the same sort of scoring prowess that they've had, and they either steal a game or they steal a game and then they win another one to win in 6, because the last few games that they've played against the Cleveland Cavaliers, they've all been blowouts, and honestly, like, the entirety of the series has all been blowouts for the home team. And I understand it sounds like that trend is going to keep going, but the blowouts that Orlando is giving Cleveland is much, the lead is much greater of a blowout than the lead that the Cavs have over the Orlando Magic when they're blowing them out. And one of the big surprising stats of the entire series is that the Cleveland Cavaliers haven't scored 100 points in a single game of the playoffs yet. And that I'm getting a lot of emails, but that stat is sort of what I think is going to be the difference maker in this series, because of the fact that this Cavs team hasn't been scoring 100 points, but this Orlando Magic team has been scoring 100 points, and they've figured out sort of the problem with their scoring, and they've changed how their offense is going to operate. And I feel like they have a really good chance of being able to steal a game since they've upped their scoring. Because with the Cavs not being able to score 100 points, I don't think it's reliable. I understand defense is more reliable than offense in a playoff series, but I genuinely I do think that this team is going to this series is going to be reliant, and it's going to come down to the team that's able to continue to score. But that's basically all I have for that game. But we'll see who wins. I have the Cavs winning. With all that being said, I do have the Cavs winning this game, but I have the Orlando Magic being able to win the next game and then maybe steal Game 7. So that's what I have happening for this series. And then we have the next elimination game, which is going to be the Pacers up against the Bucks in Milwaukee. So this game's going to happen at 9:30. Now, the Bucks, they do not have Giannis Antetokounmpo, and they don't have Damian Lillard in this series anymore. So this is Indiana's going in as favorites, despite the fact that they don't have home court advantage. They're going in as 4.5-point favorites. So for all of you that like to bet, there's those are your odds right there. And I think this is the end of the road for the Bucks. I don't see them winning this series out whatsoever. And I don't see them winning this game without having Damian Lillard or without them having Giannis. So I think this is basically it for them. Tyrese has played pretty well in this series. Pascal Siakam has also played pretty well in this series. And the lack of Dame and the lack of Giannis has hurt this team before. And even with Dame in the roster, they still lost a game. They could have made the series 2-0 before going to Indiana, but instead they had to drop the last game, even though they had Dame in their lineup. So this Indiana team, it's obviously it's going to come down to which team can score the ball more, and I think the Pacers are going to end up being that team. Because now, since not only are they missing Giannis's scoring production, but they're also missing his defense, and that's obviously another aspect of Giannis's game that isn't really overlooked, but it's when you're looking at his scoring, that's sort of another underlying factor, I guess you could say, because defense isn't really taken as seriously as being able to score the ball efficiently, and but despite that, Giannis is still like one of the league's best defenders, and he's one of the league's best players on the offensive side of the ball as well. So this team definitely, like, it would have had what it, if Giannis was there, he would have been able to help not just on the offensive side, but he would have helped on the defensive side as well to sort of slow down the Pacers' offense and be able to contest the ball whenever he needs to and be able to play that defense if he does need to. But since they don't have him on either side, they're really lacking in the production. And I don't really see I do not see the Pacers losing this series, and I don't really see them losing this game either. So I think this is going to be the end of the road for the Bucks, and the Pacers are going to move on to the next round, and the same thing for the Knicks. So both of those teams, I feel like they're going to move on, and when they both do move on, those are going to be the teams that are going to be they're expected to match up against each other in the postseason when they both move on. So the Pacers, they're expected to match up against the Knicks in the next series, and the Celtics, they're expected to match up against either between the Cavs or the Magic, depending on who wins that series. So, like, obviously, like, I say the Celtics because I think the Celtics have the best chance of winning the series, and I don't know between the Cavs or the Magic who's going to win, so I'm just, like, throwing that up in the air for grabs. And then, obviously, like, the Knicks and I feel like the Knicks are going to win in the series, and the Pacers are obviously going to win in the next series. And so it's going to be the Knicks and the Pacers going up against each other in the semifinals, the Eastern Conference semifinals. And that's basically it for the playoff preview. And that is basically it for the fourth segment, and that's the end for the show. So thank you all so much for tuning in to the GSMC Basketball Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show, leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. We also would like to remind you to please use the link in the description or the link displayed below the ticker on every single show segment to get your comments recognized. It is gsmcpodcast.net. Really helps the show, makes the show much more interactive between myself and you guys. And that is basically the end of the show. Thank you all once again. I am your host, Nelson, and as always, take care. Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great.